Hey everyone, this is Deborah from the Paper Maid. Today I just want to do a quick walkthrough with Rod and Staff's Arithmetic 2, Unit 1. So for this this is the very beginning workbook that you would use for grade 2, and I've got the teacher's manual as well. So we'll have a quick look at the workbook and then we'll have a look at what's in the teacher's manual. When I first open it up, this is for lessons 1 to 40. There's a contents page, so it just basically tells you what the child will be working on, especially when they're introducing new topics. They'll come to a practice lesson where you have practice the new concept. In this particular case, they're going to circle how many boats there are and how many black, how many white, because this is the whole and this is a part and a part. So then they'll go, how many altogether? 3. How many black is 1. How many white? There's 2. So this is the whole, and this is a part and a part to make the whole. And that, so they'll do that. There's 3 of them, and there's practicing. So so it might go 1 plus 1 equals 2. So it's basically repetition. It's learning by rote. It's mastery of your addition facts, and that. So they have that little concrete picture here to explain it. Then they'll have the practice with the numbers, and so you can do as many or as little as you like depending on what your child is capable of doing, and that. So I wouldn't spend all my lesson time on this. I would just make sure that my child understood it. This is the real lesson here where they do their work. So so they'll do all the practice, all the sums. There's a few on there, but it's pretty much all the same stuff. 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1. Can't go wrong. Then on this side, I'll have missing numbers. So the child will just come along and start counting and filling in all the missing numbers. Then down here, it's what comes next. So the child just counts along and counts on. The extra activity in the back here for each lesson, they slowly, I don't know if you can really see that, there we go. They slowly increase as the concepts are added. This is an extra activity which I have not used. I think I've done a couple of them in previous books with previous children, but then we quickly discovered that it's not needed, it's not required, it's just an extra activity. But if the child can do this without any problem and they don't have any problem with getting the lesson, then you're good to go. So let's jump a few lessons. Let's go to lesson 6. So now we've got 6 boats. There's 1 part, there's 5 parts. So put a 1 and a 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. You can go 6. Yeah, well, they're not doing a subtraction yet, so it's all addition. So then you can go 5 plus 1. 1 plus 5, 5 plus 1. And that. So, and down here, they've got 2 plus 4 equals 6. So 2 plus 4, but the sum total is 6. So that's the whole, and the part and the parts. And 3 plus 3. And down here, 4 plus 2, 5 plus 1. All the different ways that you can actually add up to 6, because they want the child to be able to memorize all of those. And the sums are increasing like that. And then on this one, we've got hundreds, tens, and ones columns. So now they're going to start teaching the child to separate them out in their hundreds, tens, and ones. What number comes before? And of course they have, what lesson is this? This is a lesson 6 up here. So now we have a speed drill. And this is done a little bit differently, but the teacher's manual will explain this. Then of course 7 is a practice with just, and that's the lesson there for 7, and this is a 7. And of course they have the extra activity there, but now it's starting to increase. It's gone to the 3rd line. And further on, let's go right up near the end. Let's go maybe to 31. There we go. Now we're talking about subtraction. So now they've given you 8 boats. 1 is a part, and then 7 will be the part. So 8 take away 1 is 7, or 8 take away 7 is 1. And so the child will fill in here what's needed, and there's multiple spaces to continually practice that until they get it, you know. And down the bottom, 8 take away 3 is 5, 8 take away 5 is 3. So it's mastery. for those basic addition and subtraction skills. Then in the lesson itself, they've got a whole page of subtraction for practice. I actually teach my children touch points to go with it to make computating very quick and very easy. Here we go, we've got more hundreds and tens and ones, and we've got count by fives. So we have to go back by 5 and we have to go forward by 5s. And of course, at the end of the lesson, this is the extra activity, and they've given all these spaces for further ones down the track. So that's basically what's in the first book up to lesson 40. And they've got a little story as well. So story questions, and of course a speed drill for timing. I never timed them really with that. I just prefer them to just do it like a normal page, because by then they should have the mastery and the skill set to just quickly do it out of their head anyway. Let's have a look at that. Teacher's manual. There's actually 2 teacher's manuals for the grade 2 arithmetic grade 2 course. So this is the first one. This one covers units 1 and 2. This is only unit 1, and there's 5 in the whole coursework. This is very helpful and handy for beginner homeschoolers or people who just want some extra ideas. It has an overview of the course. So it tells you about the teacher's manual, tells you about the pupil's workbook, grading, speed drills, the extra activities and how they function and work down there, see? What else? It tells you all sorts of cool stuff in there about that, about the extra activities and the hives. They tell you about black lines, how the directions for black line forms, and there's directions for black lines as well. Hand signals, scheduling the class. That's if you were in a private Christian school or something like that, you would probably use that. But and multiplication and division, because somewhere, usually at the end of grade 2, they would have started multiplication and division as well. So they'll tell you about that. So multiplying and dividing by 2, and then by 10, by 5s, and by 1, and then the when grade 3 comes around, they're going to be full on into multiplication and division. They also tell you about teaching aids. So extra things that you'll need to be aware of or to use for resources, things like that. And the blossom charts. I think I did attempt that with one of the children at some point, but I discovered that I didn't really need it. It was a nice little additional thing that I could add on, but I didn't need it. This is basically to teach the fact families. You know, like 9 plus 2 is 11, 8 plus 3 is 11, 7 plus 4 is 11, 6 plus 5 is 11. So it was all about the fact families and all the numbers that added up to a particular number. This book also covers new skills listed by lessons. This is handy if you're looking for very specific skill sets to practice, instead of just working from the beginning to the end of the book. So, and there's a lot there. So, yeah, there's a lot of new skills. They go right through the entire book. Then, in the teacher's manual, we come to Unit 1 for the lessons. And we'll just start at 1 because you'll see how it goes. They have the student workbook pages completed on the top, and then down the bottom half we have all the instructions that you might find useful. I don't follow this prescriptively, but it's there if I ever need to find out what I'm doing, have some understanding about what the lesson is about, you know. So they have a before class, so usually that's flashcards and things like that. Then they have a class time, and then they have an after class, which is usually an extra activity, which we don't need to do, but they will tell you if you when to insert the extra black lines, the extra worksheets that you can also get and stuff like that. So, but they just tell you everything right through. So it's all a bit of a walkthrough. The entire thing is pretty much scripted, which is excellent. And all the answers are here. And then they even show you the answers to the extra, that's the after class activity. Moving right along, let's jump to lesson 36. Well, at the end of 35, we can see that they're introducing coins as well. And look down there for that extra activity. That's what it would look like if you completed it. But I think personally that's a bit too much extra writing at that age, because Charlotte's just turned 6 and she'll be beginning this probably tomorrow. Actually, she'll probably start this tomorrow, and she's only just turned 6. And I would consider that by the time she's done her lesson, you know, the practice introduction to it, and then those 2 pages, that's plenty of math work at that age. So yeah, unless you really wanted to do it, I'm not going to say here, do it. It's just not going to happen. So all the answers, so they have everything, it's all scripted. And then, oops, oh, there's some time and clocks. And that's what I was looking for. Black lines. This is when they're going to tell you to insert it. Fact hives for number 6. Triplet with facts, number 2. So they actually tell you when to insert them into the lesson plans. And there's the hive there. That shows where everything, you know, all the sums that they would write out. And there's some hive work there as well. They put like 6 and a 5 on the wings, and that would add up to 11. A 6 and a 5 adds up to 11. So yep. And then they have these reproducibles, these patterns in the back. So this is the appendix, and they have all these patterns and things like that you might use. You don't have to, but if you're in a classroom situation, or you're crafty, or you feel like you want to, by all means. So for the boats, about the clover patch poster, the little bees, and the blossom chart. That's a blossom. They've got place value charts. So these are the animals that they've used for the hundreds, tens, and ones. So if you want to do a big classroom set, I guess, yeah. Then they've got an index of new skills and where they are first introduced. And I think it's pretty handy to have. Yeah. So they're all put in here by topic too. Makes it easier to find, I guess. And that is the teacher's manual for unit 1 and 2, units 1 and 2. And this is the workbook for unit 1, lessons 1 to 40. So that's only 40 days worth of math. And then we will begin book 2. So yes, this is Rod and Staff, and I will leave a link below as to where I purchased mine from. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I'll talk to you later, Chookies. Bye.